Give me a second, guys. While I figure out. I want to make sure I get everything right now, because yesterday was kind of a shit show. I just didn't. I want to explain myself for the fact that I stopped streaming before halftime. I know it was a close game. It was a beautiful game. I continued watching it, but I couldn't put myself through that. I already knew what was going to happen. Um, I will say that as far as the AFC Championship goes, the Chiefs won that fair and square. There was some suspicious calls, but overall, the Chiefs won. The Chiefs won. Not much that I could say much more than that, but it is what it is. And I'm sorry about that. And as far as that goes now we're having a rematch, just like last year. A repeat. We just gotta wait and see now what happens. We had the 49ers last year go to the Super Bowl. Now we're having the Eagles go this year. I don't have much more to say besides that. I hate the Queefs. Hope they don't win 3 in a row. That would really suck, and I'm gonna get clipped for that in the future. I'm very sure. But anyway, without further ado, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Out of Pocket Podcast. I'm your host, Pinche Chango, Unhappy Waffle, whatever you want to call me. Um, you know, today the Raiders had the introductory press conference for John Spytek and Pete Carroll. And I was able to listen to it today. I was working, and but I was able to listen to it, and I liked what I heard from Pete Carroll. Hold on, give me a second. I just need to make sure that I have tags enabled, so. And again, I do apologize for the terrible quality. I'm using a laptop from 2015, and I'm just trying to do what I can with what I got. So right now, I should have set this up before. I do apologize. And we're back. Sorry about the little delay. I was just trying to make sure that I got everything set up properly. And I know that I am a terrible podcast host. I'm learning. I'm getting used to it. I'm setting up backgrounds. Give me a second, okay? Just give me a second. Anyway, so like I was telling you at the beginning of the video, Pete Carroll has been officially introduced as the Raiders' new head coach, also including John Spytek. You had a small interview with, I saw a small interview on the side with the owner, Mark Davis, talking about, what made them overall decide why to go with Pete Carroll. And also, he also gave some insight into, the whole Tom Telesco situation and with AP. And I just wanted to kind of give a glimpse into that and speak on that real fast. I think that, especially involving the whole situation with AP and Tom Telesco, especially considering Tom Telesco, by all respects, a lot of people felt like he did a good job his first draft, and they felt like it was way too early to jump off of Tom Telesco, me included. But Mark Davis spoke on that, and he also said, he did a great job in his first year in the draft, but I mean, it's more than just picking good drafts. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's right. You look at the people that Tom brought in. I mean, Christian Wilkins is one that immediately pops into our head, but the other one is Gardner Minshew. Um, there was not really any big splashes in free agency, and especially considering all the money that we have available. Um, I think that probably went into why um, the they decided to ultimately move off. And also, you had Mark Davis speaking on AP and how the team was still fighting for him, and ultimately made it more difficult for moving off of him because of how the team was still, fighting for him even till the very end. And I think that's very true. I mean, if it wasn't true, you wouldn't have seen those last two wins in the last towards the end of the season, ultimately putting us out of the Shador Sanders race. But at the end of the day, these are grown men. They're professional athletes. Nobody wants to lose. And Maxx Crosby, I know for a fact, definitely doesn't want to lose. Um, Overall, I'm not too mad. Like I said before, with the hiring of Pete Carroll, I think that it was a great hire, especially for the organization that, as Mark Davis had said in his interview on the side, um, ever since we lost uh, John Gruden, he was kind of run out of the, you know, office because of everything that kind of transpired with it. And, ever since then, we've been kind of chasing stability. We went from John Gruden to Rich Bisaccia to the guy from the Patriots, McDaniels, McDumbass, as I like to call him, to Antonio Pierce. And, you know, nobody really anybody that's a Raiders fan didn't, we knew it was going to be a tough season, especially not having a QB, but I mean, we didn't think it was going to be this bad. And, I think that, especially with the type of coaches that we have in the division, we just didn't have a choice except to compete. So I will never be mad at that. I will never be mad at wanting to go out there and competing. But at the same time, you know, this franchise has been mediocre for years. And in the past 20 years, we've only had two playoff appearances, no playoff wins. The last time we had a playoff win was in 2003, I believe. And it was just time. Um, Pete Carroll has more wins. You get a lot of those comments. Pete Carroll had more wins than the last 15 Raiders head coaches combined, which is crazy. Um, uh, Sorry about that. Um, so I mean, and Mark Davis even alluded to that too. I mean, how Antonio Pierce was already starting to produce his own um, culture, and he was starting to build that culture. But the problem was that we can't really afford to, really ride it through. We really have to compete. If we can't be the laughing stock, we have the most losses in the last 30 years. You know what I mean? So it's pretty self-explanatory right there. Uh, Pause. Sorry, that was work related. What was I talking about? Yeah, it's just something that the Raiders have been needing. They've been missing out on winning coaches. They haven't really. I mean, they've tried. They've definitely tried. It's not like they haven't, but I think that overall, this is probably the best hire that the Raiders could have done um, for themselves, for the organization, and I'm not mad at it. I hope that it leads to more success than we've had in the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Even if it's for, a short time, it's more about building that foundation and just competing, not being a laughing stock. And that's one thing that I was really listening to. Um, Pete Carroll really was honing in on, he wants to compete. This is the one thing. Like, he doesn't care if you're the best player or not. He wants people that are willing to, that love to play the game of football. And that's one thing that they were talking about in the press conference that really kind of resonated with me while listening to them. And I'm not mad at it. You want somebody that wants to be there. You want somebody that's going to be competing at the highest level, and knowing that you can lose your job at any second. He doesn't care how much you're being paid. He doesn't care about any of that. He wants people that are ready to compete. He doesn't want to listen to any of that outside hype about how great you are. He wants to see the results out on the field. And I think that's something especially that Max Crosby, I know, resonates with. He wants people that are dogs like him. And that leads me to my next point as far as talking about Max Crosby and what the future holds with him, because he posted that cryptic message out on Twitter, and a lot of people are taking it as, oh, now he wants to get traded. He's putting out this stuff. He's preparing everybody to get traded. I don't think he's going to get traded. I mean, you look at I'm not going to lie. Like, if you watch that press conference and when the camera pans over to, Max, he's just standing there looking all serious and whatnot. But after they did the questioning and stuff, you got video of Max and Pete Carroll chopping it up, having a great conversation, and I think that in the coming days and weeks, Max Crosby is going to get a new contract. I don't think that he's going to be leaving the franchise like a lot of people are reporting, and especially. Hold on. Check, 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 check. Okay. So, and especially like, I mean, is it is it is it going to bring more stability? I think so, because at the end of the day, I think that Pete Carroll's going to have at least 3 years to really build something, build a foundation, and then try and bring in his replacement. The question is who's going to be his replacements, and that's the one thing. But yeah, as far as I think that if the Raiders are able to bring in Rob Leonard back or Patrick Graham, I think that that will do a tremendous service in as far as like trying to bring Max back into the phrase, and he just wants to go out there and ball. I hold nothing against him on that. I'm not mad about that. Definitely I think that you know he deserves to have a voice in the franchise. Not like power, but he deserves to be heard. And I think that's something that, especially hiring Pete Carroll, is something considering he wants to compete. He doesn't want to be sitting on the sidelines looking at the other teams. We got three other teams in the division that went to the playoffs. Now you got potentially four Hall of Fame head coaches out there in the in the AFC West. I mean, this isn't a game anymore, and I think that he sees that. I think that John Spytek will do a tremendous job in as far as persuading Max to stay, and but it's left to be seen. Anything could happen. I, as a Raiders fan, you get used to it and you get numb to players being traded out of the division or being traded out of the team to you know for pennies on the dollar. Brings up Devonte Adams wanting out. You got Amari Cooper. We got some good trades for Khalil Mack, but I mean, I would have rather kept Khalil Mack. I don't know why we didn't pay him. I mean, just imagine Khalil Mack and Maxx Crosby in the backfield. No, the NFL wouldn't allow it. It'd be too violent. But anyway, um, so yeah, I mean, also we got a couple other guys that gotta get re-signed. You got Robert Spillane, um, the dude that got damn Malcolm Butler, I think, either Malcolm Butler, or give me a second, let me look it up. I don't want to be putting out misinformation. Adam Butler, one of those guys that we brought in from the Patriots, and where is he with the Raiders? Yeah, so I mean, you got Adam Butler that we got to resign, and this was supposed to be his breakout year, so now we have to figure out what we're gonna do in that position. Robert Spillane, you got Isaiah Palmel. He started to show up, but at the same time, there was a lot of plays where he just looked like a deer in the headlights. He was just lost, um, lost in coverage, and you know, too. How do I put it? He was too. He would jump. He was just very inconsistent and would miss tackles a lot. Too jumpy. Um, Still young, but still progressing. We'll see what they do. I mean, we have a lot of holes, a lot of guys, a lot of rollover that we have to look ourselves in the face and be like, we got to deal with what we got and try and succeed with that. So, yeah, this was gonna be a shorter video. Oh, I also wanted to give a quick, discussion on who I think the OCs and DCs are going to be. So I've been hearing a lot of conversation of potentially Patrick Graham, especially since he, kind of got screwed by the Jaguars being brought in for a second interview. And then during that second interview, they bring in Liam Cohen at the same damn time. I think that's kind of fucked up. But there's a potential that Patrick Graham could come back next season. I don't know how likely that's going to be, uh, considering the fact that he really wants to move up in the NFL, and then how much is he really going to be able to move up with the Raiders? He's a great defensive mind, and I think that he's one of the best DCs that we've had. He's brought out the best of the Raider defense in the past decade, from what I've seen. Like the Raider defense, since I've been a Raiders fan, has been horrendous, and you know, Patrick Graham is the first DC that's, I feel, done a decent job of utilizing what we have, and especially with the amount of injuries that we had on the defensive side, it was kind of ridiculous too. We lost Adam Butler in the beginning of the season. Then you got Christian Wilkins. Then you got Maxx Crosby. Then you got the cornerbacks. It's just you gotta, it's next man up mentality. But at the same time, when you lose that much players on the defensive side, your defense is gonna suffer because you don't have those cornerstone guys to be able to lean on. And that's another reason why I feel like Robert Spillane is one of those people that we should consider bringing back. For sure. He definitely embodies. If he didn't embody what a Steeler is with his grit as a defensive player, he definitely represents what it means to be a Raider. You know, and I know that a lot of people that hate on the Raiders, they're gonna be like, "Oh, what? To be a loser?" No, to be a Raider is commitment to excellence. You got to be a dog. You got to be you hard hitting. You just out there, like with disregard to the other opponent's health. Look at Maxx Crosby, a dog out there crushing bodies, doing what he got to do. You can't. It's just a difference. Certain people got it, some people don't. It is what it is. Can't be mad at it. It's just speaking the truth. But I think that Spillane is one of those people that definitely have it. And yeah, so another report that I heard, well, well yeah, Patrick Graham is mainly the top guy. The other guys that they're talking about, as far as candidates, it's still really early in the discussion, and the main candidates that they're looking at right now have been, from the reports that I've seen, have been offensively speaking. One of them being our former interim offensive coordinator and current Titans quarterback coach, Bo Hardgray, or Bo Hardgree, however you pronounce it. Sorry, and Brian Shaw, or David Shaw. Sorry, do not want to butcher his name. David Shaw, who I just looked him up. I believe he is. So okay, so David Shaw is senior personnel executive for the Denver Broncos. So he's basically the guy that kind of goes out there and looks for potential to can. But Dennis Allen gets hired by the Bears. Fuck the Bears. I hope that Dennis Allen's defense sucks. Not really. Dennis Allen, I, I, you know what? I wish you very much luck, and I hope it goes great for you, brother. Yeah, but those are pretty much. So yeah. Oh, and then also I saw something on the Wi-Fi Willie podcast while they were watching the. I watched a couple other YouTubers. Shout out to Raiders Report, Wi-Fi Willie, Sanjeet with Raiders Network, Hondo Carpenter, all those guys. I listen to all of them. Just for opinions. I like to listen to other people's opinions, and some of them, Wi-Fi are very out there sometimes. But you know, I like Sanjeet a lot. He's very, Darrell Bevell. Who the Dolphins QB coach Darrell Bevell. Let's look him up. So Darrell Bevell, he is Dolphins QB coach. How long has he been working with the Dolphins though? Passing game coordinator. 2022. All right, so let's do this. Let's compare. He's gotten a lot of interim head coaching positions. He's been an offensive coordinator too. How was Jaguars offense in 2021? 3,000 yards, 3,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 700 rushing yards. James Robinson though. Trevor Lawrence. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say this. You're in a shitty situation. I have to watch more film. Look at his plays, and also look up how much he really plays. He play calls. But there's a bunch of potential candidates of who can be who. But I think especially this being the first day that they were introduced, I think they're just barely getting to the feel of things, figuring out who are the candidates they want to bring in, and also talking to some of the vets, that are still in the building. Um, look at the future of what we got to do. But anyway, I think that this is gonna be it for today. I think that I'm pretty. I had a long ass day today, and I just wanted to come on here talk about Pete Carroll talking, and I liked his press conference too. One thing that I keep hearing from everybody speak about Pete Carroll is how much energy he has, and I will say that especially listening to him talk during that press conference, he definitely had a lot of energy, and I'm excited. I'm not too excited. I'm whelmed. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see the direction they do and who they get at QB because we know damn well they need a QB. So, without further ado, this is the Out of Pocket Podcast signing out. I'm your host, Unhappy Waffle. Peace.